Welcome to a first episode of Brian the Flippin' Sailor. I flip houses for a living, and I've been trying to buy a sailboat and an ocean-going sailboat. So what I've been doing is watching sailboat videos like everybody else that's interested in sailing. And there was only one way to make that kind of money, to buy a boat big enough or nice enough that I wanted. So I started flipping houses. This boat right here is an S2 sailboat, and I'm down in the Ozarks in Missouri. And I've already sold the houses, but this is a montage of all the houses I flipped to get to the sailboat. And then and it'll be a progression of my first one on what it looked like to the last house I flipped, and see the progression of how much nicer the houses get. And then on the last house, I'll go through and tell everybody everything about the house. So check it out. I think my favorite one was that little black and white Victorian. I think I gutted that house down to its bare bones on the inside, and I think I bought the house for $20,000 and put about $50,000 in it, and then sold it for $150,000. And so that's pretty much how most of the houses went. The last two houses probably made me the most. But let's take a look at the little sailboat that I learned to sail on. That I bought it at the same time I bought my big sailboat, and I've been practicing on the little sailboat down in the Ozarks, and it cost me $2,500, and I didn't even spend any money on it. So let's go take a look at that boat. I remember sailing that boat back. It took like 3 days to get it from one side of the Lake of the Ozarks to the other side of the Lake of the Ozarks. But I remember when we got back, there was like a storm, and there was like 30-mile-an-hour winds, so I stayed on it overnight. And that was the first eye-waking experience of what it felt like to be on a boat for that long and in a storm. So I couldn't do it. It made me understand that I can't live on a 27-foot boat. So let's take a look at this house. Now, this is a English Tudor. It was built in like 1974, and it was almost 4,000 square feet. But you see how nice it is now. That's because all that I had to rip that whole outside of that house down to its 2x4s, and put new and reframe the whole bottom half of that house because it was termite damaged. So here's a look at what it looked like after I was done. So that was probably one of the nice features that I was able to keep, was that window. And that kitchen, that was like, I don't know, it probably cost me about $7,000, $8,000 to do. I think it had 2.5 bath. And it used to have a bathroom downstairs. The basement used to be totally done, but I had to rip it all out because it was neglected. This is probably about my favorite part of the house. It had a huge room and a huge fireplace. Look at the size of that room and that fireplace. There's one of the bedrooms. And then that's the upstairs bathroom for if you had kids, you had 2 sinks. And that's tile that I had from another house. So when you flip a house, you don't have to go and buy. If you have anything left over from another house, just use it. Now, this is what sold me on this house. Had a master bath. There's a sitting room. There's another master bathroom. But, I mean, everything, I kept the counter, the cabinets, and then retiled and redid the showers and put all new plumbing in. And you don't have to go crazy on material. And then there's the walk-in closet. And then remember, this house was built in 1974, so
And that was a pretty nice house back in 1974. I don't remember a lot of houses having big closets like that.
Now here's a picture of the rigging on the big boat. And this is me trying on the little boat, thinking I know what I'm doing. I just don't know what's getting ready to happen when I get to the big boat. When it comes to a small 20-foot, 7-foot sailboat, it's real simple. When it comes to taking the rigging down or taking the mast down, you need 3 simple tools. You need a pair of pliers, needle nose, and a screwdriver. And that'll pretty much the tools you need to take your mast down. Now, this boat's a S2 sailboat. They had like a super sport one that can take more wind and stress. The mast would go all the way down to the keel and be stepped to the keel, but this one's just stepped right here to the what do you call this? Top of the boat.
The hull.
The hull. No, that's the hull. We're real. What do you call it? We've got it all figured out. So you just pull this pin. You get all the rigging off, all these taken off, and you just pull this pin out, and this mast will pivot on this pin, and you drop it down, and then that's it. You don't have to take these middle ones off. You just loosen them up. That way, when you drop the mast down, the mast can't fall left or right. It can only fall straight back. So you can just keep these on. And then once you get the mast dropped down, then you can go ahead and disconnect it from down there. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, that's the end of that boringness. So here's me and my stepdad dropping that mast, and he's 80 years old. And it just took me and him to drop that mast down. I think that mast is probably, I don't know, maybe 30 foot tall. So it's not really that heavy. So let's take a look. So now the mast is down, and I bought that little trailer for like $600, and I didn't really buy it to where I could pull it around on the road because it's kind of small for that boat. But the house where the dock is just right next door to this ramp, so I use it to pull it in and out and get it over into the yard during the winter time. But we hooked a chain to it to give it that length to get it out far enough to where the boat can get pulled up on it. And that's me swimming out there pushing the boat to get it up onto the trailer.
A little bit more. A little bit more. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So now we're pulling out the boat and we're using the chain. We've got to get it up to where we get some chocks behind the wheels to stop it from rolling back and then hook it back up to the truck. But you can see right there on the front of the tongue, that wheel is starting to collapse. So we're lucky that we made it up there, and but it all went well. So no harm done.